dinosaurs in Jurassic Park, the spitty ones.
Is there a reason for that?
No, I'm just that's the energy I have today.
Oh, okay, blah, okay. Hey there, welcome to the Cold Show. It's a Friday night, and we're together again, live.
Just a casual night at home.
It is. This is more of a casual hanging out kind of night. So
yeah, hanging out, talking Zardoz. You know,
that's right. We're getting over our hijinks from last week. Still, there's a lot of
hijinks.
A lot of hair of the dog that we've been consuming. So
sure.
I have to get past all that. Oh man. Hey, did you guys notice that I'm wearing a sweater?
Yeah, you always wear a sweater.
No, I haven't. You know what that means though when you wear a sweater?
It means it's getting chilly.
Yeah, sweater.
Don't say sweater weather. Don't fucking say it.
Weather.
I've got denim on, so.
Jesus. I'm happy about the weather, but if I don't know. I feel like if somebody says sweater to me, I'm gonna
weather wetter.
Sweater weather. I'm gonna punch him in the face. I hate that shit. I hate it.
It's whatever, man.
Yeah, whatever, dude.
Whatever.
Jeez, don't count those
I know,
dollars.
like we've been like bitching about how hot it's been, and
I'm happy. I'm so happy.
Cool and
it even kind of like rained a little today. It was fucking amazing.
We had a nice windstorm last night that woke me up.
Yeah, it was spooky.
That is scary. Yeah. So speaking of weather, what are you drinking, Sandra?
I'm having a delicious sparkly water in my patented as above, so below glass. Lime flavor. Lime.
Caleb.
It's been a while, but I'm doing a bourbon and ginger.
Oh.
Couldn't think of the name.
That's a problem.
Totally spaced out. Maybe I've had 4 or 5 already. So
yeah, I was gonna say
it's gonna be a good show.
Good one, excellent. So I decided to go back. What's that?
For Zardoz.
Oh, for Zardoz. Yeah, much drinking is needed for that movie. Okay, before we start, bourbon, fresh squeezed orange juice, and some of Sandra's favorite cherry herring. Right in the glass.
Cherried herring.
Cherried herring.
So you're having the blood on the beach. What'd you call it?
Blood beach. I'm trying to. I'm refining. I'm still refining that recipe though.
Yeah, you're still working it.
I am. Sandra, real quick, what are we doing tonight? What's the full rundown?
Oh, tonight's kind of like a little hats off, bon voyage, farewell to Sean Connery, and we're going to be reviewing one of his strangest films, which would be Zardoz.
That is the one. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Cheers, everyone. Happy Friday.
Cheers, Sean Connery.
All right.
I feel refreshed.
Do you? Excellent.
Yes.
All right. So what can we say happened this week aside from the obvious one is staring us all in the face?
That here in America we're on day 15 of the election process.
Yes, except for that.
Yeah.
Except for count the votes. Don't count the votes. So aside from all that. Yeah.
Well, let's see. So it was freaking Halloween last weekend. Like, hello.
Frickin' Halloween. It was
frickin' Halloween. I ran an illegal 5K in the morning on Halloween.
An illegal one.
It was illegal. Apparently, they did not have permission from the city. So I just went flailing through some vineyards and I got a water bottle at the end. It was fine. And then, and a T-shirt.
I ran this illegal race and all I got was a water bottle.
It was like a literal child handed me a water bottle and was like, "You made it." And I was like, "Thank you." It was very bizarre. Then I watched movies with you fine people.
That's right. We did that.
We watched Beetlejuice and the OG Fright Night.
OG, baby.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Whoa.
Whoa,
there,
whoa.
Sandra.
How are you?
Hey, this is actually that's producer Scott, not me. But
Scott got
anyway,
blamed for knocking over your thing.
yes, he's
Wow.
here.
Mm.
Producer Scott came down like Zardoz from the sky and messed with my iPad.
Do you have people that are watching him to make sure he's doing it correctly, and they can't be more than 6 feet away?
Yeah, and especially, they've got a gun to make sure. Other than that, watched a ton of election coverage. And did the Spooky Slumber Party Genre Junkies crossover episode. I think I mentioned that last time. I'm reading a good book, but I'm going to save that for later. All in all, a very surreal, strange week.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
Me?
Mr. Caleb. Mr. Caleb.
Right. I finished reading A Nancy's Boys.
Yay.
And it was excellent. I highly recommend it.
Same.
I started reading You Only Live Twice, Ian Fleming, James Bond. I'm almost done with that.
Nice.
And I finally watched Tusk.
So you can listen to the Spooky Slumber Party episode.
Oh, I had already listened to it. I couldn't wait. But yeah, holy shit.
The movie's so fucking wacky.
No, it's great. I know I enjoyed it, but holy shit, is it bizarre.
I think that you guys should be the sea captain and the walrus for Halloween next year.
I haven't seen it yet, so don't give it away.
Oh,
too much.
I think that's okay. I think I can say what I said, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. You can say it.
No, that's totally fine. That's
Caleb,
totally
since
fine,
you've seen it before he has, you can choose which one you want to be.
Okay.
Fair. Totally fair.
Yeah, I think that is everything. I think.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hey, I got around to the Creepshow animated.
Oh, okay.
The thing.
Yeah,
So that was really good. I actually really enjoyed that. I think I might have liked it more than the series that was on before.
Oh wow. Okay.
Primarily because the cut scenes with the creep in the beginning, and then in the middle, they actually put music in that was very reminiscent of the first movie that you guys know I've seen a couple times. So
a couple times.
So for that really elevated the show for me, because it actually felt a little more like the original movie, which has been one of my main issues with it the whole time. And then the stories are cool, and they were, by the way, one by Stephen King and one by Joe Hill.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I liked the stories of the TV show, though. I thought there were some good stories.
There were some good stories, yes, and then there were some that were not so well pulled off, in my opinion. But regardless, I watched them all. I love it. I will always love Creepshow. You guys know that.
Keep the Creepshow alive.
Keep it moving. I love it. But I recommend it if you guys haven't seen, because the animation is done in like a comic book style. It isn't like full moving regular like Disney animation. It's like
panels.
It's Hungry Boy had a word for it last week when I said I watched it. It's like animated comics, I think.
Yeah,
he's like a pro, so he would know.
I know. Yeah, I can't remember what he said, but yeah, there was a specific term he used for what that was. But
yeah, love it.
Let's see. You know what? Real quick, we gotta go with who's in the chat with us as well. I forgot to mention that when we took over. But we have our wonderful venomous vixens. We have Mindy and Laura joining us.
Hey, ladies.
Welcome, ladies.
Hi.
We have someone new in the chat named Space Face.
What's up, Space Face?
What's up, Space Face?
Hello.
Welcome. Yes.
Ahoy.
Let us know.
There.
How did you get that name?
Do we know you?
And how did you end up in this place, this godforsaken place?
I know, really. What
need a ride
were
home?
you given?
Yeah.
Did you make a wrong turn?
Right.
Did you make a wrong turn?
Are
You're at the wrong end of the internet.
Are you one of our kids? Or
all right.
I don't have any children. God.
That you know of.
It is.
Okay.
It's Macy. It's Macy. It's my daughter.
Is that really Macy?
Yeah.
Oh.
Hello, darling.
I had a
Hey,
feeling.
Macy.
I had a feeling. That's why I
Okay.
said that.
Mark Vision's Truth is with us. Welcome, Mark. Thank you
Hey,
for
Mark.
joining. Our good buddy Todd is
Todd.
here. Todd is
here.
drinking tequila and limeade. Good job, Todd.
Nice.
Good job.
Keep it
And
classy, Todd.
I think that's about it, actually. This is a low. I guess we scared everyone away last week. So that's
We scared them away. You know what? They'll be around. They'll come around. They'll come around.
I blame Scott's producing. So it scared everyone.
You know, he could just end it. You could just end it right
tease.
now.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just so good that all others just
It
go
did.
like, you can't even fuck with that. I'm not.
No, they're like, I'm
Yeah.
intimidated.
All right.
No. Scott, he blinded
Watching
them.
such a highly produced show makes me cry and just want to curl up in a corner.
The beauty I weep.
True story.
Also,
True story.
True story. Also, what happened to me this week? A lady peed feverishly next to my car on Wednesday.
What?
Which, yes, when I was on a few days a week, I sell popcorn from one of the movie theaters we have in the evenings, and this lady. So the whole parking lot is cleared out except for my one car, and this lady pulled up like next to it, and so I was looking, going, okay, maybe she wants to come buy some popcorn, and then she opened some doors, then she like looked around, and then she took off, went around the parking lot, pulled in the opposite way my car was facing, opened both doors, and then got out. And I was like, what the hell is she doing? And then all of a sudden I noticed, and then all of a sudden I see, like on the ground. I'm like, what is she dumping out? So I walk out there, I'm like, hey, and then I realize it hits me as I get closer. I'm like, oh crap, she's peeing, but like she's peeing like the pee of a racehorse. I mean, she's like, I swear to God. I mean, I was like, holy geez. So I think she was using my cars like so people couldn't see her from the side.
Shelter. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of, but it's like, man, you're probably like splashing up and getting on my. I don't know. Anyway, so she got back in.
Go to a restroom, ma'am.
She could.
And I know where your theaters you're talking about.
Right.
It's not like it's the middle of nowhere, and that's the only building within 40 miles.
Or to go to the back of the building, I don't know.
Yeah.
I wonder. I don't know. I wonder if someone hired her to pee next to my car on purpose.
Oh my God! It was not me. I did not hire that woman.
I don't know. She must have been
fucking horrifying.
The election must have got to her.
Yeah, she was like, I can't deal with this anymore.
I think she was peeing on the illegal ballots. That's what she was doing. So she was getting rid of them.
Thank God. Yeah, somebody's got to do that. Yeah.
Anyway, so that was fun. That happened.
Patriot. Yeah.
Other than that, I guess that's about it. Otherwise, as far as anything fun or momentous that happened to me this week. So there you go.
That's new. Cheers.
If ever you guys want to come on over and pee next to my car, I'm there for you.
Oh, I already
apparently it's a thing.
I already have, Neil.
I know, Caleb. Yeah.
It's apparently a thing.
It's a thing. All right. Okay. Hey, Sandra, are you ready for your favorite part of the show?
Yay.
Yay. This week in entertainment history. All right. I'm not gonna lie. This week was a little scarce, a little hard to pull little nuggets out of.
A little sparse.
Little sparse for that, but I'm gonna give it my best shots. Starting on November 2nd, 2003 was the premiere of one of my favorite TV shows ever, Arrested Development.
Oh, that's a show we all like, Neil.
That's a great show.
Yeah.
Great show. Good. I'm glad we all. Yeah. Do we all stand that show? As Sandra would say.
Except for the final season, but yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, yes.
The second half of the final season, especially, that was
rough.
It was a little rough.
That was rough.
It was rough.
November 3rd, 1956. Sandra, did you know that CBS aired The Wizard of Oz for the first time?
Great.
1956. Now, I know to you, A, you don't like that film, but B, back in the day, That was the
Oh,
only way you got to
Jesus.
watch Wizard of Oz was when they aired on TV. One time a year.
I know. You may have mentioned this before. So 1956, so you were 10?
On November 3rd, I was 10 years old. Yes.
Yeah.
There we
Gotcha.
go. Okay, also on November 3rd, well, in 1946, Tom Savini was born.
That's important. That is significant.
That's an important one. That's probably the most significant one in the list.
That makes up for it being a slow week.
It does. All right. Following a few years later, in 1953, Kate Capshaw was born. The Willie Scott, i.e., the lead actress in the second best Indiana Jones movie ever.
Oh my God. That woman. She's freaking horrible in that movie, screaming her fucking head off.
That was her character.
It was annoying.
Okay. Okay, here's the one bummer for you. On November 4th, 1982 was the day that Dominique Dunn was murdered by her boyfriend. November 4th in 82. So yes, that was a sad one. That but at least I got the guy right away. So it's got him out off the streets at least. And then finally on November 6th, which is today. In 1966, NBC was the first TV network to air an entire lineup in color. So 1966, that day's lineup of TV shows were aired in color.
Wow.
There you go. I told you this wasn't a very good week in entertainment.
I think I fell asleep somewhere in that, but it's fine.
I warned you.
Tom Savini was born. Tom Savini was born.
Hey.
Oh my God. And that was the boring week in entertainment history.
And then that's pretty much all I heard.
Yes. New subscriber alert. We had none. None. Zero.
Wow. People watched, but they were like, I'm not coming back.
They're like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's fine. You know what, though? They will be back. They will be back. They'll miss it. They'll miss this.
They will. They will eventually, yes.
Yeah.
All right. That's it. I guess it's time for Sandra to work her magic.
All right.
Now you'll have to remember my phone is dead, so I can't see the schedule. So is it time to talk about Zardoz now? Yes. Okay. Perfect. Okay, great.
He cut out, but I read his lips. So.
Yeah, me too. I can read.
I cut out
lips.
Oh.
You did, but it's okay. It made it look like movie magic.
Wow.
All right. So, as we mentioned at the top of the show, Sean Connery passed away, 90 years old. Huge part of my childhood movie viewing life for sure. So I think we're going to talk about him a little bit later, maybe some of his movies. I don't know. The spirit moves us to. But we decided in honor of his passing, we would review a movie none of us had seen before, right?
I'd seen it.
I'd never seen it.
Okay, Neil had seen it. Caleb and
I'd seen that picture and was like,
yes.
That.
Oh my God, that picture. We are, of course, talking about 1974's Zardoz. Written, directed, and produced by John Boorman.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
This is an Irish-American sci-fi film. All right. The year is 2293. We've followed the story of Zed on a post-apocalyptic Earth. Zed is a violent, gun-loving people who worship a god called Zardoz. Zardoz directs his subjects from a huge floating stone head. Zed stows away on board and passes into the vortex, where he meets the Eternals. The Eternals are another group of people who lead a luxe, bougie, and genderless life, keeping the Brutals and other wasteland beings as ignorant servants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good night.
So I had to look up John Boorman because I knew his name, but I was like, God, that man has a very interesting canon. He has this. He has Deliverance, which is
Yep.
considered a
Yeah.
very successful film. Point Blank, which is another kind of classic. Excalibur, The
Yeah.
Exorcist 2, which is a
Mhm.
horrible movie, among other things. He's kind of
The Point
Emerald
Blank though,
Forest.
the Point Blank is not the one that from the 90s. Not that
you mean
Point Blank.
Point Break?
Oh, it's Point Break. That's
Yeah.
right.
Or are you thinking
Gross Blank. Oh, whatever. Gross Point Blank. Yeah.
Yes,
Gross
no,
Point Blank.
this
Never
is a
mind.
60s
Yeah,
action
this is a different
film.
one.
Right. No,
Yeah,
I was thinking Point Break for some reason. Scott, can you delete that?
Scott, he just waves his hand.
It's okay. No one's watching
See,
this week.
you want that buzzer that I have, right?
So, okay, it took me a good 5 to 7 minutes to stop laughing at Sean Connery's outfit. It took a long time for the novelty of that to wear off. I mean, people see the picture, it's kind of famous. He's got these thigh-high boots, a weird crisscross applesauce, brief,
Oh yeah,
bandoliers.
like
Yeah,
an orange diaper and bandoliers. Yeah.
yeah, and this braid, people. Um, and his facial hair. He looks
Big
so.
long mustache, big
Oh,
long sideburns.
he looks so crazy. He looks so crazy. Where
Yes.
do you even start with this film? Jesus.
That's
So I was thinking that the boots he wore in this, they just gave to Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman.
They were the
So
same boots.
They're basically the same
They were the same
thing.
boots.
yes.
Yeah. So
Very possible.
actually I do have a good starting point. Maybe you guys
Okay.
can help me. So I read on the internet that this film had a budget of $1.57 million. That seems
Yeah.
like a lot for 1974. Is that a lot?
1.75 million?
1.57 million.
Yeah, I saw
1.57.
that too, and I think that's kind of low.
Yeah.
Is it kind of I mean, because
That's
I don't know.
yeah. Well, so Sean Connery had been doing the James Bond movies, and he had finally
Yeah.
left and done his last one.
Yeah.
And I had read that no one would hire him, and they got him for $200,000, which I guess was very low, well below his asking price. But
Yeah.
it was kind of because that was all he could get, So no, I think $1.5 million even back then is kind of low. Or maybe average, I don't know. But
I don't know. I was like, because I was kind of confounded. I was like, does that mean this movie had a high budget or a low budget? Because either way, I'm not sure I can tell.
okay, well,
Yeah.
So
Math. though.
I saw this film. I'm not sure exactly when I saw this film the first time. It could be 10 years ago. It could be 15 years ago. I don't remember exactly.
Who's
but
counting?
I remember I had I had a violent reaction or something like I don't
Like
know.
a rash? Did you have a rash?
I had at least a rash. I mean, it was kind of like I don't know. I don't. I mean, I'll try and keep my whatever enthusiasm, we'll call it, quote unquote, until the end. But yeah, this film is one of the notes I have is that the good old days of when men in the 70s could be hairy, like it was a good thing,
Yeah.
because
Sure.
yes, hairy men,
Yeah.
hairy men exist.
Right.
So
Well, I mean, at least if you're brutal. The
if
Eternals
you're
weren't
if you're
particularly
an
hairy.
exterminator, yes.
Yeah.
Scott said that the budget of Jaws was $7 million.
Oh,
by
so
the
this
way.
is low.
Yeah,
So,
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
um,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
this movie, I mean, even like Todd in the chat is basically saying most of the budget was probably spent on drugs, psychedelic drugs. He's probably
Yes.
right.
Yes, Todd. So, okay, I'm gonna
Get into it.
To be completely honest, first time I'd seen this wacky fucking movie, I actually think it's a great story. I think it's a great story. There's it could use some bolstering a little bit, like to strengthen some plot points, but I actually think it's really smart. The story. This is a perfect example of maybe we should remake this movie. Like, maybe because, and I can really see that this did become a book after that. People like the book. I can totally see that because the story's cool. It's not totally original, but it's a little original, and I liked that. I liked the story, but I mean, the execution is bizarre. Every level of it is bizarre. Direction, art direction, cinematography, costuming, literally everything about it is so strange. I've never seen anything like it. Never seen anything executed like this.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I gotta give a point for that.
I need to correct myself real quick. I think I said Todd mentioned the psychedelics. It was actually Mark, Vision's Truth. Mark from East Washington said the thing about the drugs. Sorry, Mark.
Credit where credit is due.
I'm sorry, Mark. I'm just not myself.
I'm sure Todd was thinking it. We're all thinking it.
Mother, be quiet, mother.
I'll put you back in the fruit cellar, mother.
Anyway, yeah, Sandra, I have to agree with you 100%. This movie is goddamn bonkers. And every absolute aspect of this film, there is nothing about it that, God, is normal or, and I don't really care about that, honestly, because it's fun to not be normal.
No, it's fine. Of course,
but they take it to a point of ridiculosity. I mean, between just like every aspect. I mean, I'm trying to think of like, even like when at one point when the gal, I don't remember which one, it might be the scientist, I think, takes him to that mirrored
May.
Is it May? May takes him to that mirrored triangle thing, and he goes into it, and he slides down into their whatever.
Into
and
their
like,
collective conscious, yeah.
Yeah, and when he gets in, she goes like, "Go inside there," and he just goes like, you know, just totally bullshit.
He goes behind it. Yeah,
he goes behind it and goes like, "Oh," and it's just like, I mean, it's like, oh my god. Like, this is so bad.
Okay, one of the first spoken pieces of dialogue is the penis is bad
and guns are good.
I could not. It was one of those like record scratch, like I did like a triple take. Like, they're gonna say, did you say penis?
Like,
did the floating stone head just say penis to those men?
And guns are good? What is this, Arizona? What's going on here?
No, they also like the penis, I think, but yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
And for
close
me,
enough.
I love Arizona. I'm just kidding. I used to live there. I love Arizona. I lived there for 6 months.
For me,
oh my god,
me,
I used to live there. I lived there for 6 months, bro. Like, I'm such an Arizonan.
I'm totally I'm still Phoenixian.
I lived on a commune outside of Sedona for 6 months. Okay, like
still fiending for Phoenix.
That's right.
No, for me, the part where it just got super ridiculous was when they're showing him porn to see what arouses him. You know, and first it's like wet breasts in a shower, I think, and you know, it's like they don't show it, but you know, they show all their eyes looking down to see.
They clearly asked, nope, not working.
And they're like, all right, that doesn't work. And then they switch to like, what was it, like two women oil wrestling or something?
They appeared to be in clay.
Mud wrestling, maybe.
They were in a clay or a paint or so. I don't know. Oil-based, water-based. I'm not sure.
Anyway,
that didn't work either.
Yeah, that didn't work either. And it was actually one of the Charlotte Rampling's character,
Consuela.
Yeah. That's what did it for Zed.
That's what did. Yeah, that was like, and everybody's like, "Oh snap, it's Consuela!" Yeah.
They had me at wet boobs, so I don't know what the problem was.
You're like, "What's the point? What are we doing?"
You know what? Anyway, yeah. Okay.
Anyway.
So, all right. So I have notes like what's the main guy? Arthur Frayne.
Yes.
Arthur Frayne, who is the
floating head from the beginning.
The floating head guy.
Who is
Zardoz. The movie starts basically like Rocky Horror Picture Show. Instead of lips, it's Arthur Frayne's head, kind of like coming closer.
It's like bouncing, like
he's like getting closer and closer. I was waiting for him to break out.
Horrible, like drawn on facial hair.
Yeah, I'm saying he's got a drawn on mustache and like a
swirly beard. It looks like my tattoo on my arm, but it's on his face.
Now, doesn't like
Yeah.
the jigsaw doll have like a
Yeah,
Spiral,
Billy
yes.
has that. Billy
Yep.
has that.
Ah,
That's where he got it.
Oh man, yeah. So I mean, the movie starts boom right from the middle. You're just like, what the hell? And then is this guy gonna start singing about B movie, horror films like Rocky Horror? Or what's going on? But
Yes.
it's nuts. And then yeah, the big head comes down. The guys are shooting their pistolas up in the air. I mean, it's just like,
It's a
oh
party.
man,
right, and saying Zardoz and guns are good, and Zardoz.
yeah,
Penis bad. And they have I like their cool mask things that are like double-sided and they look kind of Grecian. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
There was actually, to be fair, there's some kind of cool things like that. Like, I thought those masks were cool. There's a big theme about books, which I was super into. Like I said,
yes,
there was some cool plot and story stuff, but you really have to put up with a lot.
you do, you do indeed. Lewis, by the way, has joined the chat. Lewis is with us
Hey,
now.
Lewis.
Hi,
And
Lewis.
Lewis is a fan of this film, by the way, so he might be the one person or one of the people protecting.
Again,
Speaking out for
Lewis,
it.
I'm telling you, good story. Fucking wacky shenanigans, though.
Yes. Lewis says that Zed's arousal actually had an auditory tone to it. So now I have to go back
I
and
believe
watch it.
that.
God damn you, Lewis.
Just listen for an auditory tone.
Like,
of
was it like a
arousal?
slide whistle? Like a woo?
Yes.
Okay.
In a word, yes.
They go, ooga.
Oh, and then what's up with Friend? What's
Oh,
up
I
with
know,
that guy?
right?
And then they're like, he was part of it, and it's like, I don't like him. He's bizarre. He's awful.
Yeah, the first half of the film, he was I couldn't stand him. Like, he's
Fucking
horrible
horrible.
character. Yes, it wasn't until he got half his face aged that
Yeah.
Right, and
that I
he got
started to
sent.
like him.
He got sent to what were they? The Renegades.
The Renegades.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Renegades.
And that was an interesting concept that in this, when you're an eternal, you have this eternal life, right? You can't die. And you just become old. And it's like, ooh, ouch. That's such a burn. You just have to be old and you're eternally stuck at this fucking New Year's Eve party, dancing
Right.
slowly.
In tuxedo.
Like
but wasn't aging part of their penal system or something?
Yes.
That's
Well, yeah, it's
when you-
bad. Yeah, but
right.
that's
So
the
were all of those
punishment.
people, they'd been aged or
Yeah.
done, they'd fucked up so many times
Renegade.
that they were no
Yeah.
longer eternal status or immortals,
Right.
whatever.
They're
What are they?
basically
Eternals.
they're basically saying you have no value in our society, which is how we
Right.
treat the elderly now. And they basically put them in this old folks home and they're like, just dance and
Right.
be over
We'll
there.
bring you your food, but fuck off. We don't.
Yeah, we're just gonna throw bread at you on a
Yeah,
occasion.
we'll throw freaking we'll throw 18-inch loaves of bread at your face as hard as we can. And
I wonder what they did. They must have had a horse before they were using Zed to pull the cart. That was super awkward. Soups awkward.
yeah.
Okay.
So Sean
yeah.
Connery. So Sean Connery in the very beginning, the head comes down. Sean Connery gets into the head,
Stows away, I believe.
Stows away, right.
Stows away.
and then the head takes off to go back to the what was it called? The realm, the dimension,
Through the vortex.
vortex. Thank you. Back to the vortex of the Eternals, and then he gets out. Of course, gets caught immediately.
Yep.
And they're like, "Oh my god!" It's
As
one of
if
these
by
guys.
just
Right. Exactly. So and then I love the room, the big room that the Eternals are in. It looks like a big top tent to me. It's like orange walls and white draperies coming down. Makes it look like it's an orange and white stripe.
very psychedelic situation.
Oh, yeah. And all the women are wearing just little see-through things and very, whatever, free
But
flowing.
the men kind of wear those too.
I guess
the men,
they
because
did. You're right.
because they don't really have gender in the Eternals. Because they the argument for the film is that they kind of got rid of gender because they don't procreate and everything
True.
is just equal. For 1974, that's a pretty fucking crazy concept, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's a lot of
Cool
high
stuff.
concept. There's a lot of high concept
Yeah.
theory in this film.
Yeah.
Or
Again, you must dig. You must wade
Yes.
through.
Right. Well, the whole idea of the tabernacle, like running things,
Yeah.
is kind of like 1974's version of like AI and search engines or something, because they would
Yes!
ask it everything, and of
It's
course
like Siri.
they had no idea.
Siri or Alexa. Yeah.
Yeah, no idea that would actually be a thing eventually, but
yeah,
that was what he was predicting, I guess.
Yeah.
When he wrote this.
Tabernacle's a really good word, by the way. It's very funny. Very funny word.
Really? It just
Yeah.
made me think of Sunday school.
The tabernacle.
Having to
poor
learn about the
poor
Israelites
Neil's-
and the tabernacle.
Poor Neil is trying to get us linearly through this film, and I'm resisting.
no, I know. I just don't want. I mean, that's fine. I'm what I'm worried about, honestly, is that you guys are gonna make me like this movie. That's what I'm worried about. It's like the more you talk about it, the more I'm like, oh yeah.
Well,
Okay,
I
never-
mean, so they decide to keep Zed alive as kind of like an experiment. Though not everybody wants to. They have a very interesting system of voting.
They
Where they
do.
wave their hands about. Maybe that's what we need here in the
Yeah, and
States.
it's like a weird like movement they do with
Right,
two
like-
hands versus
Yes.
one,
And
or
yeah. And there's like a
they
No.
vogue,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
I think they vogue. They want you to stay, and they like,
And then a lady with like really elaborate hair just like stares at you with intent and I guess records this in her mind. I don't know. I think we should be doing this and we wouldn't have the problems we have.
oh, maybe.
Maybe.
That's a good
Maybe.
point. She would
Yeah.
be the one. Yeah, absolutely. Good point, Sandra.
Yeah.
Especially if she walks around in the little outfits like she does, and just
She has like, yeah, and some of them have like little head wraps. Some of them were little head wraps.
They're like Egyptian.
Yeah. Very
I don't know. I
Egyptian
don't know what those
looking.
things
Yeah.
are called, but yeah.
that's what Arthur wore.
Arthur
Yes.
Arthur Friend or whatever his name was.
Frayne.
Frayne. Frayne.
So how about
Um,
the people that? Okay, so the Sean Connery was an exterminator.
Zed.
Zed. Well, his name is Zed,
Yeah.
but he was an exterminator. That was their people, or their the ones who wore the orange
Yeah.
diaper with
Well,
the.
their people are brutals, but he was an exterminator.
Okay.
That was his
Um,
like class.
Right. Okay. Got it. So him and the other exterminators would go around, and their job would be they kill people running around in suit jackets. Apparently, because everyone he kept shooting, they all had suit jackets on, and I don't know
They
what that.
all had fucking suit jackets.
They all had-
Literally
they
all
did,
of
but
them.
they were all being forced to farm too. So
Well,
yeah,
that's part of it.
sometimes. Yeah.
So their job was to initially to kill the people, all the people,
Yes.
and
Right.
then once you got down to a select few, I'm guessing at that point the tabernacle or Arthur would tell you. Then
Just
you
Arthur.
would
Yeah.
just Arthur. Okay, then
Yeah.
he would tell you, okay, now it's time to start farming,
Right.
and
Because
let them
Arthur was-
farm.
Arthur was quite literally left in charge of this post-apocalyptic portion of Earth, and he basically just got to play in it like God and do whatever he wanted. And in fact, he did become God. Of course, it was
Right.
all part of an elaborate scheme. But so that was And he's like, no, I'll have them farm, and by farm I mean walk in a row with a big stick.
Yes.
And
yeah, they had very,
immediately-
very interesting ways of farming.
And Zed was immediately suspicious because he's like, we eat meat. We don't eat wheat. Those
Right.
rhyme.
So
But-
the Eternals only eat carbs. You think is that all they do? Is they
They just
milling
eat that bread.
The bread.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Well, no, they did
literally-
have fruit. They did have fruit on there. I saw.
They
some
did,
watermelon
and they
at
had
one
they had
point,
quite a
but-
spread on that table.
But I did not see
Um,
any meat on it though.
Nuh-uh.
So
Yeah, I don't think they eat meat, but I mean, he was basically just having them farm, for the Eternals to make, and then they would load up the grain into
Well,
the
that's-
head.
that ends up being the reveal at the end. Basically, is that
Well, it's
there
at
were-
the beginning, actually.
I thought that was the end where they kind of basically said that they, the Eternals were just these people who were basically bored, and they decided to, or they're a bunch of. I have written down. They are the rich, the powerful, and the clever.
Yeah.
And they secluded themselves.
Yes. No, I see what you're saying about that, but I mean, like having them do things for them was revealed at the beginning. Is that that's
Okay.
like the point of the people in the wastelands is they do the things.
But at one point, you think that Sean Connery and his people are just kind of mean. You know, they're just brutal.
Yes.
They're just chasing people down, killing them for no reason. When in
Rapists,
fact,
like nasty.
exactly.
Yeah.
And they were bred, they were created to do that.
Right. They were taught to do that. And that was like what they were
Right.
by their god and everything.
Yes.
But no, actually, they have super mutant brains and they can teach themselves how to read.
They can, yes. Get into
And
that.
they have their mutants in their minds and also their physical prowess.
Yep.
Yeah, so
And
that was maybe a mistake in, I don't know, the planning here. But if one of them gets their hands on a book, but I mean, Arthur's whole thing is like, well, that's what I wanted from the beginning. Woo! You know, like, okay,
yes,
that
Arthur,
worked.
he wanted them to eventually to, I guess,
Lead an uprising.
yeah, and the what is the Eternals, the people, they can't die, so they want to.
Yeah. To find a cheat code basically to get into the
Right.
crystal. Yeah.
Yes.
And all this. I
Where does
got
Sean Connery get
yeah.
all his bullets from, you think? I know I mean, is it all he has is this, or is there more? Because he keeps shooting and he never runs out.
I'm sure Zardoz like spits them out of his mouth every once in a while for them.
Okay. All right. Oh,
Well,
what
they
the hell?
did show when the guns were coming out of the mouth,
Yeah.
bullets were also
They did.
coming out as
Yeah.
well. So
Yeah.
But I mean, even like they don't ever show anyone reloading, though, do they? They just
No,
keep
I don't
No.
shooting
think
and
so.
shooting and yeah.
no.
Okay.
No, that's not important.
Lots
No,
of
nope, nope,
movies
nope,
don't
nope.
show that.
Nope, 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 nope.
or guns never run out of bullets.
Never. Mm-mm.
All right.
I don't know anything about firearms, but I don't think the guns he was carrying takes the bullets he was wearing. But I don't know.
They looked awfully big.
They looked awfully big. They looked like tranquilizers or something.
like,
But
yeah.
I don't know.
He had like shotgun shell size
Yeah.
holders, and then just a
Right.
little 6-shooter going on. Yeah. How about okay? So the the scene where they bring him into on that table and they're supposedly seeding or using his seed. They decide to create new life or whatever, right? And it's like this like trippy like 10-minute long. I don't even know what the hell is going on. He's just laying on the table and they're showing images all over the place. And I mean, I don't know.
When they're laying hands on him to give
Yes.
him knowledge, and they are in turn taking his
Seed. Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. Well, Neil, one could argue that is the theme of this movie is, but why does it go on so long? Because
Okay.
that happens a few times. There are some fucking scenes that it's like, we get it. Like, we get it, John. We get it. Like, we get what's
Right.
happening here. You don't have to keep going on about it. Including, well, skipping to the end, but when there's a massacre, it's like every fucking Eternal, you see them getting
Right.
killed in these really cheesy manners, and it's like, we get it, they're dead. And
Yes.
everything is just like, he doesn't know when to stop. He was like so in love with this film that he's like, I don't think I need to cut that. No, I don't need to cut that either. I mean, the fucking movie's almost 2 hours long.
Yeah. Is it okay?
Yeah, that's
It felt
long.
like it. It feels like it. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, I'm having a little bit of fun with it. I do like the story, but execution is whack. But anyway, yeah, they take his seed and then he like loads the women up on horseback to go out into other wastelands and lead revolutions, I guess. I don't
To have
And they all have their hair down and they're like swaddled in blankets. It's very biblical.
yes. Okay, so man, if there was a way you could try and describe this film to people, like a coherent way and in a lineal way, how would you do it? Could you do it?
I could try. I would say I mean, I would kind of stick with the synopsis I wrote for this film. And then I
Okay.
would say, like, so that's the story. Um, it's gonna get real weird. It's gonna get real weird for you. Um, Penises though. And you're gonna see penises too. In a really odd manner. They're kind of like little like fireworks. That was weird. Um, but the point is, don't be apathetic.
Okay.
And knowledge is good, but one should, have ambitions of like you can't have like perfection. Perfection's boring and it leads to like stasis. We should always be yearning and yeah, and apathy. We should always be yearning and reaching for the stars and the next thing. Um yeah, I did really actually like that concept of apathy being like a disease. I
Okay.
really liked that because I think that's a big problem we have in our world and our society today is people are just apathetic as fuck and like don't care about other people. And I like the idea that it turns you into kind of a zombie.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I
Caleb,
don't
what
know.
do you think?
Zed's sweat cures apathy.
Yeah, you're gonna want to lick Zed a lot, and he's not gonna mind it, and then he's not gonna let you because it gets weird.
Right.
Well, he only has to give it to one person, and then they can just kiss each other, and
Yeah, or
that
kiss each other's fingers.
that cured it all, apparently.
Yeah, that
Super
was a weird scene.
unhygienic.
That was a weird one too.
and again, that was another scene that went on for a really long time.
Yes. Oh my god, something you don't wanna do in the COVID era is just kiss random people and kiss their fingers. Don't do it.
Yeah.
But and I guess you have to give it up for the film because again, it was, a girl kisses him, and then that girl kisses a girl, and then if a girl kisses a guy, then the guy kisses
Guy
like
kisses
they
guy.
weren't they weren't
Yeah.
afraid of they weren't afraid of anything in this movie. I mean, they
Mm-mm.
really
They were
weren't.
they weren't afraid of fucking anything.
No,
They were
No,
like
no fucks were given, as they say.
no fucks were given, balls deep. I mean all
Just-
the things, all the things.
all the euphemisms.
Balls to the wall. Quite literally. They were on the
Yes.
walls.
They went everywhere. So I'm trying to think like so Sandra, you were very poetic with how you break it down and very intelligent in your speak, as you always are, eloquent.
Thank you.
Whereas I, of
Thank you.
course, I'm on the other side of that. Whereas I'm trying to think, okay, how can I explain it for people like me, which like, okay, I still don't understand what this movie is about though.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. And I'm like, okay, it's a dude who gets into a big stone head or
Sure.
whatever it's made of. He flies up, he lands where these people, at one time, these rich people, powerful people who decide, you know what, we're done with the world. We just want to make our own little group of people, and everyone else can screw off, and we're gonna play God with them. And they basically just get so bored of their
Yeah.
lives, they make themselves eternal. They're so bored, they want someone to kill them. Ultimately,
Yeah.
at the end,
Yeah.
and they're just like to Zed, they're like, please kill us,
Kill
'cause
me.
we can be killed now. And then
Yeah.
eventually, because of they're like you said, their apathy. No, because there's the apathetic folks who are like just like zombies.
Right, but the Eternals are getting there, right?
They are
Like,
getting there.
They're
Yes,
getting there.
I
Yeah.
guess there's some point where you do get to that point, but
Yeah.
anyway, and then everything along the way is the is the psychedelic trip along the way.
Oh my
So,
god. Can we talk about the ending too? Like literally the ending where it's like this fucking hilarious time lapse and they're like wearing green doublets and I
Yep.
could not. I could not. And then they turn into dust and it's just
yeah, so
that's the
so-
bizarrest part of the whole movie for me.
it is kind of weird. So Zardoz has, I guess he finally has relations with
Consuela.
Consuela, and
Zed
then
does.
what's that?
Zed does, not Zardoz.
Yeah, Zed. What'd I say? Zardoz. Sorry, Zed. The head in Consuela.
Yeah.
Zardoz. Sorry, Zardoz again. Zed. Too many Z's for me.
I know
Zed.
that was their first mistake as a writer. You don't do a Zed and a Zardoz. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, so then they have the whole, it's like them looking at the camera, and it was the little baby breastfeeding, and then it's a little kid, then the kid gets older, and then the kid's at a whatever age, 20, and then the kid gets up and walks away, and then they get old, and this is all like, it's cut, and then
they get old, then they get decrepit, then they get ancient, then they become
Right.
skeletons, and then they blow away.
Right. So
and all that's left is handprints and his gun.
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna say, let me say it, and then at that
Please.
point, Zed's dead, baby. Zed's dead.
Yes. I thought the exact
Yes.
same. I don't understand why it's the handprints and the gun at the end.
Yeah, what is that?
Considering the gun, I mean, it's actually, like the gun is not like a good thing in this film. Like, it's not good. I mean, at the beginning he's saying penis bad, gun good, but that's because we know that he's not like being truthful to them. So like for the end thing to be the gun, I thought it was an odd choice. I'm not sure I understand that choice.
I feel like it was just saying, like, he impregnated Consuela, they had a baby, they left the gun behind to become
like we don't
like
need that anymore.
An artifact, kind of like the cave wall painting that they also left behind. That it was old news.
Forgotten on the wall.
Right. That's how I took it. I don't know if that's right or not.
Oh my God, the others. Okay, we kind of mentioned this, but the scene that especially went on forever, I'm sorry, I just have to say this, is when they were imparting the knowledge on him. And it's like, lady speaking Italian, person talking about like William Shakespeare, person speaking gay. Like, it's like, we understand. You put all the knowledge
you're
in
putting
the world
everything.
into him. We get it. Like, oh my God. And they're like, but what about math though? Yeah, we taught him math. What about like this language? What about over here? It's like, we got it. We got it.
I can't say that I got anything about this film. So
you wanted that scene to go on like another 15 minutes?
Yeah, I needed more of that.
You needed more.
I needed more. Okay. So the chat is basically oh man, they're doing better than I am, at least. How's that? I'm trying to look here. Todd and Mark are saying, okay, so Lewis is saying they were not fulfilled spiritually, they were too in their head, thus the boredom.
Yes, absolutely.
And he also says a giant condom's going up in flame at the end.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Todd is saying the gun is good. The penis won out over the gun. Okay. That's the message.
Penis better than gun.
There you go. Anyway.
Penis one, gun none.
So
we talk about what Zardoz means, though? Did we?
Yeah, no, go through that. Yeah, for sure.
Wizard of Oz. The Wizard of Oz.
The Wizard of Oz, yeah, because that's... So when he was taught to read before he joined the Vortex, he picks up the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
And then he realizes that they're being lied to, that there is someone behind the curtain. And
he gets real mad.
And he gets super mad, and he whips the book up and he throws it, and then that's what gives him the idea that he's going to go sneak into the flying head to find out who really is behind the curtain.
It's a coup. And that was the first thing, like almost as soon as the head started talking, because at first I was laughing really, really hard at what the head was saying. But then I was like, oh, it's the Wizard of Oz.
Right.
It's that dude in there. He's that head. Yeah.
The man behind the curtain. Yeah.
Yep. And then, of course, that was him in the library, that cheeky monkey.
Yeah. So basically, this is all Frank L. Baum's fault.
Yes.
Or whatever.
It is his fault.
Yeah.
That's who, Neil, if you'd like to speak to the manager, that's who you need to ask for.
Okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go to the estate of Mr. Baum. Tell him this is his fault. So I was looking around a little online, just reading, like, I was curious to see what the reviews were of the time. I'm looking around, and then
Pretty
one
bad.
person wrote, one could argue Zardoz is a fascinating take on the themes of death, rebirth, mortality, and fate.
Totally.
And I'm like, okay. And one could also argue it's a piece of shite. so, so it just depends where you're coming from. But
Totes.
actually,
Totes.
hearing you guys talk more about I think you guys got it way. Your mind was expanded. Let me say compared to mine. So
I'm not saying it was expanded. I'm with Sandra. The story had potential. It was just executed extremely poorly. I also agree with you, Sandra, that this would be a movie that would benefit from a remake. I have often
Yes.
wondered why they remake the good movies that everyone loves just so that
Stupid.
we'll hate them. Remake all
Yeah.
the bad ones, you know?
Remake the bad movies. Yes. 100%.
I mean, I don't know if this film, God, because the reason that this film is even worth watching is because it is so insane. You know what I mean? I mean, all the everything. I mean, literally everything about it. You know what I mean? The costumes and the dialogue and the 20-minute seating scenes and everything about it. I mean, it's just
Whole lot of
I don't
seed
know.
going on. It's funny because Sean Connery was, of course, a very attractive man. Not in this film. It was like they beat him with the ugly stick, and I
Yeah.
just ugh.
Did you guys see there were some promotional stills that were taken, for the film, and it's like him and Charlotte Rampling, and like they're kind of like both kind of like hugging each other, looking at the camera, but of course she's topless,
There
and
she is.
so,
Yeah, of
and
course she
kind of
is.
thing. I'm just like, this poor lady. I mean, because
Yeah,
I gotta imagine filming this movie was bad enough, much less, then
but it
okay,
lives
publicity is,
on.
and you
Yeah.
think you're done, and then like, okay, come back for some publicity photos. Oh, take your top off, by the way, while you're at it, and
Oh my
Sean
god!
Connery
And
will hug you.
they thought it was gone, and then generation later, there's this thing called the internet, and nothing
Right.
ever goes away.
Yeah. Oh, crazy.
Great Halloween costume though, Zardoz.
Oh,
That's a great costume.
if I ever have enough,
Right. Yeah.
yeah.
If you guys do it, I'll do it.
I mean, I'm going to since I came up with the idea, I'm going to recuse myself and let someone else do that.
Then it's never going to happen here.
Yeah, I don't think my body image is high enough for myself to do that. So.
Oh my god, Neil, you can use your mother wig. We'll just braid it for you.
For what,
That's
the crotch
true.
hair? Or
That's
for
true. Both.
All of it. Yes,
All
buy
of
another
it.
one. Yeah.
Hey, I have another review for you.
Okay.
Ian Christie of the Daily Express said in his review, if this is intellectual thinking, then Donald Duck deserves the Nobel Prize.
I
Okay.
think Donald Duck does deserve the Nobel Prize, sir.
Oh, this
So,
film was a trip.
yes, it
That's
was.
a trip.
Yeah,
I
it's a
love
big
the
trip.
I love the poster for this film. That's a trip because it's I mean, just like this movie, you like look at all the images on the poster and you're like, I don't get how does this come together? And it's like illustrated. I don't know. I think it's kind of cool.
Yes. Well, I don't know that our review made any more sense in the movie, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Can't shed a light on that.
That
But
is
then
the movie,
again,
but-
I don't think the movie made it much sense. So
Right. However,
we did the best we could.
It is worth a watch just based off of how crazy it is, honestly.
Yeah, you have to see it. You
So-
have to. Yeah.
And if you're a fan of Sean Connery, right? I mean, you can't not.
Oh, what the hell? Yeah,
I mean,
do it. Do
Part
it.
of the
Just watch
canon,
the goddamn
part of his
movie.
thing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
okay. So, speaking of that, is there any other Connery films? Anything else that you guys?
I mean, the man didn't do much. I'm just kidding. That was a joke.
Right.
Well, my favorite Sean Connery role will come as no surprise to our cult show family is, of course, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, because that was, it's like my first movie in theaters when I was 4, and just one of my comfort films that I love so much, and I adore him in that movie. I think he's amazing, amazing in that film, and that's like totally my childhood in a little nutshell. So that's my favorite Sean Connery. What's your guys' favorite?
Uh,
It's got to be Untouchables for me. I
That's
mean,
close, yeah.
I want it to be Doctor No, which is my favorite,
James
Bond
Bond.
film.
Uh-huh.
But he was just so good in Untouchables, and that's
So good. I love that movie.
yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's a cult show favorite, Untouchables.
Touchables is a good one. It's kind of hard because as far as movies go, we talked about this amongst ourselves, but Time Bandits, I love that
is a
film,
good
Time
one.
Bandits, and he played King Agamemnon.
Yes.
And his role is small, which is why we didn't choose Time Bandits, because that's such a fantastic film.
Yeah.
But his time in that, while it is a very straight character, like very, this is it, I'm a king, blah blah blah. It helped, I think, further that movie's plot along a lot, because the Time Bandits, is crazy as it is. He was
Yeah.
the opposite, well, kind of like Zardoz, actually. He was kind of that little sustaining force of calm, basically,
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
film. But yeah, Untouchables is great. The Rock, I love The
The
Rock.
Rock.
I think
I
Oh,
really
I
like
Rock's a
love
fun
The
film.
Rock. That's a
So-
fucking fun movie, and especially
fun.
being from Northern California as we are.
Yeah.
It's it's kind of a thing.
And we all can try and do our best impressions, where you go, "Welcome to The Rock," or whatever. We all take a turn at that, maybe.
Another one of my favorites is one of his earliest films. This was a movie I watched a lot as a kid. Darby O'Gill and the Little People.
No!
Yes,
No!
I watched that movie so much as a kid. So that's
Wasn't
That's
that
up
his
there.
first movie?
I think that might have been his. I mean, I don't know technically, because I think he like filmed stage things. So I didn't want to say that, but it's definitely like one of his first films, and he sings in it. It's delightful.
No, the only reason why I know that movie is I used to have a little piece of shit dog named Darby.
Oh.
And my
Jeez.
boss would always say, "Oh, you got to watch this movie with Sean Connery," And so finally, he lends me the DVD, and I start watching it. I can't do it. I have to turn it off.
Oh. I think it helps to see it first as a kid, I would say.
Maybe, yeah, definitely. But yeah, sorry, not a favorite.
Not a favorite. I'm also a big fan of him in Excalibur. We've never talked about this. I love anything that has to do with Arthurian lore. That's like totally one of like my big, huge, like nerdy things that I'm obsessed with. And I thought he was a very good King Arthur in Excalibur.
Okay.
Julia Ormond, Richard Gere. It's a fun film.
Yes. Producer
was that
Scott
called?
actually wanted to add a little
Okay.
something also to our
Hello?
discussion.
Hello? Is this thing on?
Zardoz?
Hello,
This
is
thing
this
on?
thing
Hello?
on? Hi,
Zardoz, is that
everybody. I had to hop in because Sean Connery is really one of my absolute favorites. I was first introduced to him with Never Say Never Again, which was brilliant and still actually one of my favorite Bond films, which led me to Goldfinger and, of course, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. And I have a fun story. So I'm adopted. So I had the joy of always being able to imagine that Sean Connery was my father. I have a lot of physical similarities. I have a lot of hair in the same places. Unfortunately, I have the same hairline. So it was really fun, like, thinking, I think there's a strong possibility he might be my dad.
I like to keep that rumor alive.
You know what? He can't argue with you now. Let's make it true.
Perfect.
Let's make it true. Let's make it true.
It is no longer rumor. It is a fact.
Fact. It's canon.
Yeah. You heard it on the internet, so it's got to be true.
It's got to be true. And thank you, producer Scott, Zardoz, whoever you are.
Bye, Chad.
So speaking actually of Bond, James Bond, I my dad's a huge James Bond fan. I watched a lot of those movies when I was a kid. Sean Connery is James Bond. That's a hill I'll
Agreed.
die on. That's a hill I'll die on. I don't hate some others, and then there's some that we should not speak of. But he is James Bond, and my favorite James Bond movie is actually You Only Live Twice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That is a good one.
I just love the whole Japanese thing, and it's like so like Japan in that time and stuff,
Right.
and it's such a trip. Absolutely, for the most part, atrocious depiction of women and minorities in those films. But you know,
Yes.
there are time and a place. There are time and a place. Those James Bond movies.
They are.
Seen them
Yes.
all. Seen
No,
'em
and
all.
I think my love of James Bond comes also from my dad. So
Yeah.
it's
It's like
you know, it's just like a common language that he and I can speak. You know.
Yeah. Oh, and stylistically, there's so many wonderful things about those films.
So did you
Yeah.
guys like it when Connery came back into the role in '83 for that Never Say Never Again?
Well, so Never Say Never Again was just a remake of Thunderball, which he had already done.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
there
yes.
was just this weird rights thing who had the rights to it, but it's the same movie,
Yeah.
same characters, same movie, same villain. It's just
Yeah.
this producer just happened to have the rights to it as well as the Broccolis or
The
Broccolis
Broccolis?
or
Broccoli.
whatever they're called.
Broccoli with cheese.
And so they threw a bunch of money at him, and so he's like, well, I already did it, but you know, I get to do it again with Kim Basinger now.
That reminds me too, producer Scott. I think James Bond books, wasn't that one of the first adult books you ever read? Was your Uncle's Ian Fleming books?
Well, actually, I never read them all the way through, but yes, it was it was one of the first novels that I really was interested in. It was actually my uncle's, and he had a full collection of all of the books. It's one of my biggest regrets is not stealing that.
Oh my God, for real!
What an amazing collection that was.
That would solve all of the cult show's money woes.
Never in a million
Wow.
years would I sell it. Never.
No. When you're just gonna be buried with them, lining your grave, lining your tomb.
From my
Your
cold dead
Ian Fleming-
hands.
Yeah, I'm just Sean Connery, man. He was a different critter. And isn't Harrison Ford, isn't that like the joke is that they're only like 12 years apart or something?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so
Yeah,
it's
they're
like
pretty
kinda
close
funny.
in age.
Yeah, that he played his dad.
Hey, Henry Jones got started early, man. You give it up for him.
Yeah.
So
Sean Connery, bro.
Todd, by the way, Scott says that you read those books for the sex scenes. That's the only reason you read them. So,
That's probably true.
probably. All right. So anyway, yeah, I guess Sean Connery, we will miss you. Thank you, Mr. Connery.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Love him.
All right.
Cheers.
Hey, can we talk a little about? Can we reflect? Can we genuflect? No, it's a different word. Can we discuss? I was about to say genuflect. Talking about the Wizard of Oz, you know. So
Yeah, it's fine. Sure.
the 31 Frights, our list. Can we talk real quick? Maybe
Sure.
you guys have any thoughts about
Little
what
group
happened
therapy.
and
Little
you
group
know,
therapy session
what
right
made
now.
it, what didn't make it, any of that kind of thing?
I have lots of thoughts, as I always do.
Okay.
I'm rarely speechless. I thought it was very, very cool, very fascinating, almost from like a sociological point of view of like, you know, kind of like a little look at our community and what we voted. I think it's really, really cool that we had something, I think it was 259, was that it? unique titles that, like didn't make it onto the list because they weren't, didn't fit into the algorithm then.
Hmm.
Which I think is really cool. I mean, like, we all came up with our 31 and submitted our lists, and it was not a reflection of my list, like looking back
Right.
at it. I mean, a lot of my favorite films definitely made the cut, and some of them were, pretty high up there, like The Thing. That was in my top 5. But it's also like, wow, okay, you guys didn't pick that movie that I love? Not enough people loved that? Okay, that hurts. That
Yeah.
hurts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rosemary's Baby was. I was. I'm not sure if I was surprised that it wasn't on there, but I know you wanted it
Yeah, my number one. It's my number one.
It's a number one. Yeah.
there.
I mean,
But it's yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
no, I was to say when you have like Nightmare Before Christmas or whatever, and no Rosemary's Baby. I'm just saying that kind of thing. I pick on that film because that's the one that's in the most,
Oh my god, it was so high
But
up there. It's
I
really
know, but
like, yeah.
it's still there's those kind of films, and again, it's just surprising because like my list is like Alien. Seriously, no Alien,
No
and
Alien.
and it isn't like I mean I'm not a diehard Alien fan, but I recognize
Nor
Alien
my, yeah.
for what it is. That it was
Yeah.
a monumental horror film that is on a lot of people's list for sure. I mean, it was probably in
Yeah.
my top 31. The fact that Evil Dead 2 made it, but not Evil Dead 1, surprising to me, quite honestly. And then like Suspiria again, we talked about any of the. I mean, I guess I don't know the Italian films, but Suspiria is one of the more popular ones.
Right.
Kind of surprising.
No
Yeah.
J horror.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I think it's kind of cool to take such a snapshot of it because, like, though I like Argento and I like Fulci and a lot of that stuff, they're not my favorite either. So it's kind of cool because sometimes you see people are like, "Ah, you're not a horror fan unless you like blah blah blah," and it's like, well, clearly there's lots of different ways to be a horror fan, and
Right.
you can't be, a gatekeepy asshole. And we give each other a hard time here on the show, but it's like, no, at the end of the day, I'm not bothered that we all don't have the same favorites. I like that we love this genre so much that we can find some common ground. But yeah.
Right. Yeah. Caleb, anything surprising for you?
I was surprised at myself that I forgot to put Candyland on my list. Or
You mean
Candyman.
Candyman?
Candyman.
Candyland is
Candyland.
also a horror. Yes.
Yeah, it's
King
horrible
Candy.
to play, after the 100th time with my kid, but
King Candy.
yeah, for whatever reason, I just didn't even think about it. And then when it came up, during
Yeah.
during the Scream
Yeah.
section of the show, I was like, fuck,
Yeah.
because I would have totally taken off Nightmare Before Christmas had I.
Lest we forget, Caleb
Damn
was
you,
part of
Caleb.
that. He was part
I
of
haven't
it,
seen a
people.
lot of these movies. I had to fill. I had to
Space,
fill some
yes.
things up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, yeah. Again, I think the Italian thing is for me again, and they're not in my top 20. Probably any of the Italian
Yeah.
films, but just the fact that there are so many of them, and they are pretty iconic. A lot of them.
Right.
Again, either with the Suspirias or the Fulci films. Even the Cannibal Holocaust movies. But I mean, it's just kind of surprising that not one
I think
squeaked in there. But
I think it's actually kind of cool because it goes to show that, like, just because something's iconic doesn't mean that it's like actually
Someone's
something
favorite.
that the people want. And that's not, I'm
Right.
not saying none of us out there like Fulci or anything. You guys get what I'm saying. But especially, I think because these lists, like, we didn't read like, this is Mark Vision's truth lists or anything like that. I feel like there was an anonymity and people could be like, oh, this is how I really feel. And I don't have
Right.
to name the films that's like, this is what I'm supposed to say,
Yep.
I think we freed them. We were the Zed of this turtles here.
That's a very good point, actually. That you feel like you have to say something of a film you don't necessarily care for because it's regarded. Like, I have to say The Shining. I love The Shining. It's in my top 5. I have to say that.
Right,
But
right,
when in
right.
reality, it didn't make our list. Our list. The three
Yeah,
of
our
us.
personal list. Yeah.
Right.
Because we just don't love it as much as the horror world or whatever. But yeah. So you're right. It probably was a freeing experience and experiment for some to be able to actually
Yeah.
put the movies they like.
And
So,
and it's what you like, right? Because if you're like, man, I fucking love Evil Dead. That film just like it makes my heart happy. And it's like, then you put Evil Dead, baby. You do it.
Right.
Like, that's okay.
that's okay. You put Paranormal Activity on that list. It's okay. You
I
do
sure
it.
did. I sure did. It's in my top
I know.
31.
I know. Oh,
And
Lord.
I am not alone.
No, you clearly were not.
Just like I'm not alone with Nightmare Before Christmas.
That's right.
Which we all love. It was just a question of, is this a horror movie? Okay. Okay.
It's gateway horror.
It is definitely gateway horror. It's like the weed, as weed is to drugs. You guys get
Nightmare
it.
Before Christmas is to horror. Yes.
All Tim Burton.
We're just lucky that we have that Mindy and Laura stuck around after that. So, because they were,
Yeah, they're
were-
pretty mad.
they
Those
were pretty
ladies were
PO'd.
pretty mad.
yes.
And of course, producer Scott, we had our beautiful in memoriam section, and then we also had that little salute to
Number
oh my God.
32.
Number 32. Yeah, to get that in there. So thank you, producer Scott, for doing that.
Thank you, Scott.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's definitely given me some ideas of other ways we can kind of do a similar thing in the future, and yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
it'll be interesting to see if we keep doing that, how the list evolves,
I don't.
grows.
Well, I mean, I think we kind of touched on it last week, but I think a really interesting place to take it would be within subgenres, or
Yeah.
perhaps decades, or different
something.
slices to
Yeah.
narrow it down a little bit more, because this was just a fucking free for all. We didn't we didn't put any shackles on people. We're like,
Yeah,
just
well,
tell us. Yeah.
And that's how I felt. I was kind
Yeah.
of overwhelmed, so
This was the Zardoz of all lists. It was a free for all. It was a do whatever you want.
And then you go into the library and you're all mad and you rip up the Wizard of Oz and you knock over all the books.
Yep. Yeah. I'm gonna go to the cult show headquarters and kill them all.
Don't kill us. It's just a game. It's just for fun.
Take Sandra. She lived a full life. She's
No.
happy.
I'm becoming a renegade. So good. That movie is a wellspring of inside jokes too.
It is, you're right.
Yeah, with you're now part of a family of people who have seen Zardoz. And we speak a language, it's like we serve together in the military.
You actually could probably make a couple good drinking games from that. And you gotta figure every time, every time you see you hear, you see something, you gotta figure out what drinking game can I make from that? Because
Yeah.
I mean, every time
Anytime you see a bulge. A bulge.
a bulge
Yeah.
or
Yeah, you
a
would
de-
die. You'd just drink yourself to death.
oh yes, you
Yeah.
would. Every time you see a nipple, or I'm trying to think, but something someone says
Every
it's gotta
time
be
they say
something.
Zardoz.
Yeah. Anytime your mind starts to wander because they're fixated on some weird thing for too long.
Right.
Anytime you're reaching for your phone to go on Instagram.
Anytime you decide you're like, I need to go to the bathroom. Should I pause it? Nah. I'll let it run.
What if I don't pause it?
I can still hear it from there.
Yeah, and you'll come back and it's just the same montage that you left during, so it's fine.
Every time Sean Connery pushes his face into that piece of glass at the vortex, you know, take a shot. Oh.
Oh, I love it. I'm
God
so glad
bless
we
you.
watched that. I'm
God
so
bless
glad we
you,
watched
Sean.
that. I'm so glad we all share that now.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, all right. I guess that's it. We can wrap up, huh? We're done.
I think I have to go home. I have an appointment.
All right.
Yeah. I need
Um,
to be excused.
So if anyone has never seen Zardoz, we'll have a link, of course, below in our affiliate things. You can go buy it somewhere and watch the film and see what you think. So see what happens.
Way to
Be
sell
part
it.
of this
Way to sell
brother
it.
and sisterhood that
Yes.
is people who've survived Zardoz.
Whoa, I lost my thing. Yes, do the what do they do? 2 snaps and a something when they want to
Yeah.
approve something or whatever it is.
These
Two
start
s-
voguing, I
2
believe you
snaps
said.
and around the world.
Yes. Anyway, and then of course, podcasters, thank you very much for listening
you,
to
pod
us.
people.
We appreciate it.
We love
And
you.
then, yeah, other than that, what are we doing next week, by the way? It's kind of cool, isn't it? Kind of special. You forgot, Sandra, really?
I
Next
think
week, our
we'll
show's
be
on-
we'll be covering day 25 of the election.
There's that, yes. But there's also next week's show happens to be on a Friday.
The 14th.
I think
I'm
Sandra, for some reason, is not looking forward to this one at all. I'm not sure.
no,
why,
I'm just
but
I'm just being a big silly.
You're just being a
Friday the
Zardoz.
13th. I'm just being such a I'm being such an Arthur
You are
Arthur
Frayne.
Freed or being such a friend.
a friend.
Such a dumb name. You have May, Consuela, Arthur, friend.
I know. He goes through the old person, big friend. Friend.
Old
I know.
Have you
friend.
seen friend?
Have you seen Friend?
Where's friend?
And then he's like, old friend.
No, only half of his face is old Friend.
Yeah, I guess it's a process.
It's
I
a
don't
palsy.
know.
He's got the palsy, so it's only
friend,
the half
friend,
the face.
friend became Two-Face.
There you go.
That's the origin of Two-Face.
Friend became Aaron Eckhart, so it's okay.
Arthur didn't. Yeah,
Okay.
it's good.
What's
Okay.
happening next Friday, Sandra? Next Friday.
Friday the 13th celebration.
We're gonna rank the original 10 films.
Yes.
We're doing a ranking, a live ranking.
We're just going to talk about how good Sackhead Jason is and call it a night.
Well, what it means is that Sandra's going to have to actually watch some film that she hasn't seen before, possibly. I don't know.
Yeah, I've not seen the whole franchise. I've seen a lot of it. Haven't seen all of it.
Okay.
And especially not sequentially.
Well,
Yeah.
it's because next Friday is Friday the 13th. So why
It
not?
is the 13th.
Why not use that time
Why not?
to rank the films?
Let's
It'll
do
be
it.
fun. I
It'll
bet
be
we'll have.
fun.
I bet we'll have 9 concurrent viewers next week instead of 8. So
We're happy for any viewers. Watch it live, watch it later, watch it 3 times, whatever you got to do.
Enoch just joined, by the way.
Oh,
What up,
Enoch,
E?
nice.
What up,
Thanks for
E?
showing up when we're saying goodbye.
I know we're
Appreciate
saying
that.
our,
Appreciate
we're saying
that.
our deuces, but thanks for coming by though.
Appreciate it.
And
It's the
thank you,
thought
by the
that
way,
counts.
for getting your state to vote. Thank you. We appreciate that.
Yeah, we do.
That's
good job.
funny. All right.
All
Can we
right.
go home now?
Let's do it.
Bye.